Hello and an extremely warm welcome back to the channel, and it's going to be a train set running video this week. The RS2 Clockwork train set got an amazing amount of votes. The Freight Master got loads too, but this just pipped it to the post, so we're going to have some Clockwork fun. And I've already started getting the train, the little Loco, ready for some maintenance, so I'm going to share with you what I do to that. But I'm getting ready now to start work on this Battle of Britain class Loco, the one that's going to be my first refinished Loco. It's been painted and varnished and had lots of customization in the past, so someone's had some great fun with it, but it's time to see what I can do with it. Now, I've started the stripping down process, so the chassis looks really good. We'll take a look at that in another video, so I'm going to put that to one side. The tender, this has received brushed on matte black paint but is in very good condition. I've removed the buffers and the coupling. Here's the tender top, lots of painting and varnishing and all sorts of work gone on here. And also, look what I removed from inside the tender. This is plasticine from the ages. It's gone rock hard. Someone had forced it inside the tender to add weight. Well, I have removed that just for now. And here's the body shell. Now, the problem that springs to mind really firstly is that the nameplates had been glued on with possibly a polyester or polystyrene type cement, which could have damaged the plastic. We won't know yet. Brush painted roof and lots of other things being added. Someone's touched in the vacuum pipe quite nicely on the front, but let's see what I got off it. So I'm just going to put these bits in no particular order away. I've got the coal load, some tender wheels, a coupling from the tender and a screw, a body mounting screw, a tender weight retaining screw, and then 4 really nice buffers. They'll have to be cleaned up separately, excuse me. And then we've got this brass, let me just see if I can turn this over, they've all gone the other way around. Brass nameplate set which was glued on. So there were 2 nameplates, a couple of like heraldic shields and some other little bits. So they have come off quite nicely, but I'm just putting this all in the pot for later. I'm not throwing them away because they might, really difficult to pick these up, just bear with me. Might use them on another project, who knows, but there we have all the parts so far removed from this Loco. So I'm going to keep those over safely with the chassis. And now I need to think about cleaning it up. Well, my first attempt at cleaning this up is going to be the bath, the items, and I've just been down into the garage and look, brake fluid. Now, the plastic is quite good when it's soaked in brake fluid. I've used it in the past to get different things off plastic, so I'm going to attempt to see whether the brake fluid will loosen the paint. Now, if you've ever spilt brake fluid on the inner wing of your car, perhaps not so much with the modern paint, but back in the day it was a really effective paint stripper. So I'm going to put some of this in now. Just, the reservoir is quite capacious, but I'm not going to worry about that because this will all be saved, so it'll hopefully do many Locos. So I'm just submerging, just checking that the brake fluid is covering these parts, which it seems to be quite nicely. Just get my screwdriver out of there. So I'm going to put the lid on this and put it to one side, and we'll take a look at it next week. So it'll be exciting to see whether this first attempt at cleaning up the body shell has yielded any results. Right, now I need to move that carefully because I don't want to spill it everywhere. And then I'm going to show you the little clockwork mechanism in this Triang Hornby RS2 clockwork train set locomotive. So I'll be back in 1 minute. Okay, well that container of brake fluid is out the way. Hopefully I'm not going to kick it around the workshop at all. I've put it safe. Let's take a look at this bright red body shell now. Let's see, just in there it does say built in Britain. Can't see anything else in it. And look at this great big weight. See if I can ease that out. It's kind of stuck. Here it comes. So that's going to make this probably a superb puller on the layouts. So the body gets located to the chassis in various places, just clipped over. Now I'm really worried about this being brittle, so I did remove the body shell off camera because I didn't want to slip and crack it, because it's brand new, this, never been run. So let's have a look at the mechanism. Now it's just very, very cheaply made. Bits of folded tin plate, plastic wheels. This has got a very limited service life. All the bearings are just in this thin tin, but look at the condition of those gears in there. This hasn't been used. And what can I show you about the mechanism? Well, it's so basic, but the brake is quite excellent. If I push it forward, you can perhaps see just down where my thumbnail is, there's a little shaft that sticks through. That's on the governor. And when you put the brake on, it just binds on the shaft and stops the mechanism. Now, I did say governor, it's not a real governor, but I don't know whether you'll be able to see in there. There's an off-centre weight. And if I twist the wheels, perhaps you can see it rotating. So that causes a sort of imbalance in that final shaft, and it can't go flying around too fast because the weight governs the speed, really. And what sort of ratchet has this got? Well, it's rather reminiscent of the dinky keyless clockwork motors and pullback motors. You might see there's a slot just here in this gear, both sides, and when you put the key to wind, I hope I can demonstrate this, can you see that shaft jumps up and the gear turns? Well, it just allows the gear to come out of mesh with the next gear in the motor. It's a really ingenious type of ratchet. So I can wind it. Now let's just wind it up a few turns, not too much yet. Turn it round. Oh yes, the brake came off then, look. Great things. A superb noise because mainly of that weight going round. But this is running nicely. Right, it did just stop then. I think I caught it with my finger. It's probably, there we go. Okay, well I'm never going to make this last longer than its intended lifespan, but I'm going to give it a bit of maintenance. So I have a oiler here. So just off the camera in a second, I'm going to lubricate all the bearing points just with a small amount of oil. And I'm also going to introduce a little bit of oil into the spring. Now, when I'm repairing clocks, it's very important to make sure the spring doesn't stick when it's inside a barrel. Well, this isn't in a barrel, but I've got all sorts of different viscosities of oil that lubricate the spring so it can slide over as it's winding so the coils don't bind. So a little bit of oil just on the spring will ensure that it unwinds without sticking. And I really think this is going to run beautifully. So it's going to be great to see how many circuits of the Super 4 in the set this will do on one wind. So I'm going to get it lubricated and come back to you with this pulling those really beautiful, and let's see whether you can just see them, these yellow coaches around this ring of Super 4 track. Okay, well, it's back together, oiled up nicely, a little bit of oil on the axles of these coaches, and I've fully wound the Loco very carefully, and I'm going to see if I can just release the brake. Get ready, and away she goes. Look at this. Well, already that's made its way around the loop several times, and it seems to have a great reservoir of energy, doesn't it? Look at that, still going. Surprisingly quiet. Let's just see if I can get a little bit nearer to it for you. I must say it's just going round circle after circle. I'm starting to feel a bit strange here now. Slowing up. I can just imagine how much fun you'd have with one of these years ago. But I also imagine that they probably didn't have the longest life. Right, well that was good. I'm not going to go around that loop again because I'm going to get it onto the main layout. So let's see whether we can get all the way around the main layout. I think we probably should, because that ran for a nice little distance. So let me transfer it over. Okay, well that looks superb on the main lines. I'm still in a state of slight disarray since the last video, so there's rolling stock and locos needing putting away. But I'm still going to have a bit of fun trying to run this. Now, one thing I should have probably pointed out when I showed you the mechanism was, please don't try and wind the motor up with the Loco. And let me see if I can show you this. Don't try and wind it up upside down or at an angle. Gravity can play quite a part in the way that little ratchet works that I showed you, and you could really get a sudden unwinding or really nasty sprag of the gear, which could break the motor. Now I wonder how many children perhaps fell foul of that back in the day. We've got a full spring of energy in here. The guards put the key back on the platform, so I'm going to ready the train for moving away. So brake is off and it's eager. A bit of wheel slip there. Look at this now. Happy to stretch its legs around the Super 4 main line. It's actually running in an upward direction on the downward main line, but I don't think that matters. Already been round one complete revolution. Might detect a slight slowing of the motor, but it's certainly looking like it might make two complete revolutions of the main line. So where's it going to stop? Because it is slowing down quite dramatically now. Will it get as far as the main station, I wonder? I think the passengers are ready to get off anyway. Yeah, and there we are. Well, I'm going to have to send something round to retrieve that, probably Nelly or a small Loco. But there we have it, the little Clockwork RS2 train set on the main lines. And I do believe someone said in the comments when we were talking about Clockwork trains how much fun it would be to wind it up so it ended up in the station. And by some complete fluke, I fully wound it, set it up from this station just here. We had two full revolutions of the layout, and then it slowed down nicely to go into the main station. Well, I hope you've enjoyed seeing the little Clockwork set. It's been great fun to run that. Next time it's a train set video, it's going to be the Freightliner on the main lines. And I'm looking forward to next week to seeing whether I've had any luck at all in removing the finishes from the Triang Battle of Britain Loco body shell and tender. So until the next video, I'll say goodbye.